Here we go, man. LDWMMAC. This is your boy, the coach. You're live on the Coach's Show, the Coach's Show live. Oh, man. Whew, got a special guest. Man, we've been trying to get this interview in for the last, 14 months. And this is, this is look, this is Modessa, I'm sorry, Melissa Oddessa, La Bella Bestia in the building. How you doing this morning?
Hey, and you said my name well. Some people have been jacking it up, so I appreciate
Hey,
it.
I gotta take time to pronounce your name right, cause your name, that's your ticket. Hey, your name is your signature. So, we definitely gotta say that right. Well, how are
I'm
you?
doing good. Yeah, I just fought a few days ago, so I've had a few days to kind of relax before I jump back into training. So taking full advantage of it and resting.
Okay, taking advantage and resting. Okay, well, you know what? You rested, and you said you took the kids out to the park, right? To the amusement park.
No, no, I went.
Okay, so you left the kids at home.
Yeah, yeah, but now I'm gonna have to take them after this. They wasn't supposed to know.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so you didn't tell them right now, right?
Oh no, mommy needed to have fun. I'll
Okay.
tell them after.
Yeah, they're gonna be mad at you though. You know that.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be pissed, but it's okay. I'll make it up to them.
Okay, and I believe you. I believe you. You just got out of a fight with Brittany Sims.
Hmm.
KO. I'm talking about KO. Man, what were your feelings and your emotions after that fight was over?
Um, it's almost surreal because this journey has been a long one in boxing. I was an amateur boxer for almost 16 years before finally deciding to make the switch and back to and turn pro. And then I had back to back injuries. So it seemed like there was always something happening preventing me from turning pro and starting my career and working my way towards a world title. So to win the NABF championship so soon in my career, it's an amazing feeling because I want to be able to set the tone for where I feel women's boxing should be going. So I feel very fortunate to be part of the progress that women's boxing is making. And I'm looking forward to being able to fight for a world title fight next.
Now, speaking of women boxing, you've had a lot of fighters. They've actually spoken out about women's boxing, not getting enough, notoriety, not getting enough press, just a lot of different. You even had people like Carissa Shields saying it. In your mind, what do you think we need to do to get women's boxing back to where it needs to be?
Well, I think a few of the things we need to focus on is better matchups. I understand the difficulty in finding fights for us, especially with everything that's going on. We have this pandemic, people are in training. It's hard to travel, especially outside of the country. But there are active fighters right now. There are some that are traveling. I know that on a recent card, you just had a matchup where she flew from outside of the country to be on, I think it was the Triple G card.
Hmm.
So it's possible to make these fight happen. We have a lot of champions vacating their belts instead of stepping up and fighting. So that's one of the things I hope that changes is we get champions defending their title and start looking to unify more instead of going for either vacant belts or jumping weight classes trying to get a fight.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. That is a common problem in boxing, and especially with the men. It's like they'll vacate, they'll move up like two weight classes for a payday, that kind of stuff, and the road to undisputed is pretty tough. Because people they don't believe in that anymore. So it's kind of good. It's good to hear you actually say that. You know what though? I feel like some of the women, y'all don't mind banging. Y'all don't mind putting it on the line, like y'all calling people out. And I've seen you do it. I've seen Jessica McCaskill do it. Who just beat Cecilia Brækhus. I've been seeing Carissa Shields saying, "Hey, I'll fight whoever." I've been seeing fighters like come up and say, "Hey, I'll fight whoever." We did see Carissa Shields and Christina Hammer. They put it on the line. Cecilia Brækhus put her belts up on the line. So I mean, you've got, you guys are starting to go in that trend, but I guess it's going to take a group effort, right?
Most definitely. And as you were saying, you have people like Jessica and Katie Taylor who are now undisputed champions. So now we're getting to be on a platform where we can people that women can be undisputed champions and that we have what it takes to get to that level. And I feel that following in their footsteps, because I think it's a great way to go about your career, is how we get people excited again, because there's nothing better than watching champions go at it to show who's the best.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And it is, it's nothing like seeing the best fight the best, and I think that's, I mean, you watch boxing, that's what boxing fans are always talking about. Oh, the best ain't fighting the best, this fighter ain't fighting this fighter. I'm the A side, I'm the B side, I'm the C side, and I'm like, nah, we getting the F side right now because the fights ain't happening, So yeah, it's really good to hear you say that. But I want to talk to you now. I want to talk to you about your fight because man, that's such like that's like a high. I mean, Melissa, she did not see the left hand. I mean, she didn't see it. No,
That's one of being a southpaw. When you learn how to put your combinations together, there's certain punches that are supposed to be sneaky where you're able to just, get them in there real quick.
you were just in the corner. No, you were in the corner, and you were so relaxed, and you would throw your right, then you come back with your left. You caught it with the left the first time, then you throw your right again, then you went back to the body, then you threw the left, and bam, just dropped the right where she stood. It was beautiful. I mean, if violence can be beautiful, that was beautiful.
Ah, you. I'm so glad to hear that because, I've really been working hard in the gym, and it's important to me to show that women can be clean fighters. We can be sharp, we can be fast, we can punch, and we can punch hard. We can use our power. And so that was my focus the entire camp, and seeing it come together is one of the best feelings ever.
Like, you know what? And I felt like Brittany thought that, you know what? Because when I was watching y'all face off, I actually almost felt like, she was not necessarily trying to intimidate you, but almost like trying to size you up a little bit. Like, look at her. She ain't, what, this what everybody talking about? And, and then you got in there and you went toe to toe. You was like, okay, all right, because you boxed her for a little bit. And then you said, okay, let me just go toe to toe. Let me really show her what I got. And I don't know. I just felt like you just said, the hell with it. I'm going toe to toe.
Well, it's been a different experience turning pro, because even for my pro debut, I was put on the B side, and I'm not used to that. So then coming into my next fight, I went against another tough girl that was confident. And then coming into the fight with Brittany, she had all the confidence in the world. Like when we faced off,
Hmm.
she asked me if I was ready. And I looked at my manager. I was like, am I ready? Okay. So it got me hyped up. Like, we're going to go for this. So she had been that way the whole time, just having all this energy and really wanting this and showing it. And I thought it was dope. But for me, for where I need to be, I have to take it the wrong way, even when they're nice, so I could get in that like mind frame of, man, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah. And an
So
ass
you
whooping
don't
she
know
took.
if you're ready. She went to like hit my gloves, give me a pound, and I slapped it like, get out of here. I'm
Yeah.
about to have it to you. I'm not trying to be nice. But I definitely think she underestimated me just a bit, because we even talked after the fight, and she was apologizing about her performance. And styles make fights. You never know what's going to come. That's why it's so important to make sure you look up your opponents and know about them. And I didn't know much about her. That's why I came in with the jab, and I wanted to feel her out. But once I felt her hardest punch, and I knew she gave me everything she had, I was like, okay, I feel more confident to step in. And that's when I just went for it, because my head coach, Andre, he was like, don't
Andre.
take it easy. Yeah, Andre Rozier, he's my
Hmm.
head coach and manager. And he said, you go after her. Like, she's what stands between you and that belt. And I was like, bet.
Ah. So when Sensei, see, I call him Sensei Rozier. I call him, that's the black Mr. Miyagi. I'm serious. That's who he is. Okay? Andre Rozier, he done coached so many champions, world champ. I mean, this guy, To me now, I don't know if everybody. Andre Rozier, a legend to me. Um, and he has done so much for the sport of boxing. And I'm like, look at who she training with. She training with Andre Rozier. She finna kill these people, man. And that was my excitement when I saw, that you had signed with Havoc. And I was like, oh man, man. Hey, she's finna be on the fight because I don't think these people know you're amateur, right? They don't know who you are. Like they don't know who they're getting in there with. They don't know. Like you done been in there with like people like Michaela Mayer. I mean, you done had some battles in the amateur ranks, and I felt like some of your amateur fights were more like pro fights. Whew.
Most definitely. And I have. It's pretty cool seeing all the women who are pro now that I went against in the amateurs, because I look forward to getting a rematch with some of them if I have a L, or whooping them again in the pros if I already beat them. So it's pretty cool because some of them already had turned pro before I had turned pro. So now I get to look forward to going against women who have been in the pro ranks while I was still getting my experience in the amateurs. And I'll also be able to now go against champions who are both Olympians or were amateurs and now we're pros. So it's pretty cool because the pool is growing for women's boxing. So now there's more options on who you can fight and go against. So I'd like to look it up and see who's turned pro, who's up and coming, who's holding the belts. It's all very exciting.
You know what, Melissa? There's one person that you fought in the amateur. There are two. There are two people that I want you to fight that you fought in the amateurs you lost to. That I got to axe to grind, and I would love to see you get some get back. That's one Marlon Esparza and one Michaela Mayer. Boy, Michaela Mayer be talking cold cash. She be talking, boy, and I'm like, you pushed her to the limit, man. Those are two fighters. If you could fight any two fighters, my dream fight, I would love to see you get some get back with those two.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. Marlon Esparza fights really light,
Mm,
and there's really no money fighting in those divisions. So flyweight doesn't really do anything for me. And if I'm gonna be miserable having to cut water and have to, drop down that low,
mm,
it's got to be worth it to me. And there's no one in the flyweight division that gets a rise out of me. So I'd rather just go bantamweight and then head on up. And
okay.
I know McCabe fights around 130, 135. So I like to take the time to put on the weight properly because I'm on the smaller end, and a lot of people don't realize that. In the amateurs, I fought at 125, and I would rarely cut weight because I would always be around 122. So I was always comfortable, fully hydrated. I can eat whatever I want.
Mm,
So I don't want to jump to 130, 135 because that's actually a big weight class for me.
wow. Okay. All right. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you kind of broke that down because people sometimes.
But I will be able to hold my own when I go. So I look forward to challenging myself and seeing how I do with the bigger girls.
Man, hey, well, listen, I mean, you fought a lot of them in the amateurs. You fought some bigger girls. You fought some smaller girls. And, I think your experience has made you like this professional that you are. Like, you're a professional. I think you're already ahead of where, people think that you're supposed to be. And they just think, oh, well, she's only got 3 fights. Oh, she's only got one fight. But no, no, no. You've had lots of fights. Lots of fights. So, I always put you as the favorite coming up right now because I think people don't. I think people really don't know you. They don't know your resume.
Okay. Yeah, and that's why I love being able to share with them, because I had a few people ask me, "Wow, you're moving so fast," and they didn't realize how many fights I've had in the amateurs. So I don't need to do a lot of four rounders. I have 18 years of four rounders. I'm good. So I felt, yeah, I was ready for my second fight to go into a six rounder because I wanted to do an eight, and they were like, "Slow down, slow down."
Wow. Now, how is it? What has it been like? With Coach Rozier. Like what is it like? What is he instilling in you at this part of your career? Because by technical means, people say, oh, well, she's like 34. But I think you're in your prime. This your prime right now. You in your prime. You fighting your best boxing. But what is he bringing to the table?
Man, what doesn't he bring? He's one of the best in the business. He knows his stuff. He's a very intelligent man. in and out the ring. He understands what it takes to be a champion. He knows how to build you up for who you are as an individual. He takes the time to work with you. He works on your strengths, and he also helps you improve on your weaknesses. He knows how to put game plans together, and we have that bond. We just click. I've known him for almost my entire boxing career. I met him really young. He took me under his wing, and he's always stepped up and been there for me when it came time to go to tournaments and if my head coach couldn't go. And that's why I wound up making the move and training with him and did part of my amateur career with him. I'm actually undefeated with him. We
Mm,
fought at 125. We grabbed a couple of national titles, and I was able to win all three national titles in the first year, getting the Triple Crown title, the bragging rights.
that
So
is the
I've only
bragging
been
rights.
able to do that with him. Yeah. So now being a pro, smaller gloves, um, he's able to work with me to understand and how to make that transition from an amateur boxer to a pro boxer, because my style was already more like a pro. So now he's just sharpening me up and tuning me up to be able to execute the way I should. And as you can see, my last three fights, there's something to
Yeah,
it.
it is. It's something to it. I want to go back to your second fight. I want to go back to that fight because
Okay.
it's almost like your opponents. They tend to want to put pressure on you, and you would think they figured out by now that that don't work. Like you actually, I feel like you as a fighter, I think you excel when people are putting pressure on you. Like we get to see stuff like how you start working the body. You know, I noticed in that fight, you just you start attacking the body, and then your counter punching. You know, you start acting like you got a Thanos glove on when people try to rush you, and I'm just like, man, I feel like you fight better in close quarters than you do at a range. You know?
Yeah, and I could definitely see that. I work on being able to fight long range and closing the distance. I like to bang it out personally. So I like when they put the pressure on me, like, let's go. But it's also hard to get away from me. I intentionally work on moving forward because I want to engage. We only have 2 minutes. I'm not trying to waste time.
Yeah.
So even if you're trying to use footwork and move, I'm going to close that gap and I'm going to be on you like white on rice.
Wow. Okay. So with Coach Rozier, so he game plans these fighters. So now he'll tell you, hey, you know what? You better off fighting this fight at a range, or he'll tell you, hey, just go in there and just really, just bang her out and just let her just go ahead and just be done with it. Just get out of there quick. Like or is he like one of those guys that he'll make adjustments while you're in fight?
Yeah, we always go over the fundamentals of what we should be doing, and we'll usually watch tape now, so there'll be certain things we're looking for, but we don't get too focused on that because at the end of the day you never know what someone is working on and what they're going to change up.
Hmm.
So we just make sure to be prepared, and we know how to feel out the opponent, and we know how to make the proper adjustments. So if you listen to him in the corner, he'll change up what he's saying according to what needs to be done.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, man. He's an intelligent coach. He's
Yeah,
real good.
that's
So
him
now,
and Gary Stark. I mean, they're amazing. Their fight IQ is just on another level. Having the both of them has just taken my game to another level.
yeah, I can tell. I mean, because I watched some of your amateur fights versus now, and I mean, I was even watching. I'm like, man, is she faster? Like, I mean, you look faster. You look like you're the fittest that you've ever been. I don't know. You just seem like you at peace. When you're in there, and you really just look like can't nobody touch you.
Oh man, thank you.
Let's.
Such flat compliment. But I actually been off the game for 4 years. I've only been back a little over a year, and I was training in MMA, which helped my gas tank to be able to do these rounds so much faster, go to six, go to eight. But I've only been training back in boxing like a solid 7, 8 months now. So I've been working really hard to be able to get there because I know I have a lot of catching up to do. I'm 34. I don't have many years left in me to box, but I want to be able to fight the best. So that's the reason I go to New York and I train with them, because time is not on my side and I'm on the fast track. So I need to be able to execute and look like a professional.
You don't even
So
look
that
34.
thank you.
Come
I
on
got
now.
to enjoy those compliments while I still get them.
Yeah, I mean, you still, you like you can pass for like your late like 20s or whatever. You don't look 30. I mean, I guess that's why to me you look faster. Um, man. Okay, so as far as boxing goes, I mean, you pretty much know where I'm gonna go next. Um, who do you want next? Like, who do you legit like? Look, I want this girl. I need her now.
I would like to fight the bantamweight champion. Her last name is Luna, and she just defended it in October. So I would love to match up against her in February. I got the NABF, so it only makes sense for me to go for the WBC title next.
I think you're right. It's just time to go collect some more hardware. Okay, so what does she do well? That you see, like you looking at it as a fighter and maybe just a boxing fanatic. What does she do well?
She fights. The first thing is she actually fights and defends her title. So
Oh Lord.
start.
Well, I tell you what. I tell you what. Okay, I'm gonna ask it like this. See, I know what you see. After, I got to get creative. Okay, what does she do well that you can exploit?
You gotta understand. I prepare for everything. Watched one of her fights. I don't like watching too much tape on my opponents. I leave that to my coaches and I listen to the guidance. And that's how I prepare myself for my opponents. So I'm not really sure everything that she would bring. I just know that she does engage, doesn't mind fighting in the pocket, and I'll be ready for whatever she comes with. So whether she's strong behind her jab or she's throwing a flurry of punches, whether she gets a little sloppy, because one of the things I did notice is she uses her head a lot. And that's one of my biggest fears. I do not want to get a cut over my eye or my forehead, because you know how that is. Once you get cut, man, it reoccurs. And that's a hard one. And to have a fight stopped off of a cut, depending on what round, once you're fighting tougher opponents, you need every round if you can't get them out of there. So I'll be looking to be able to keep her on the outside and just keep it clean.
Okay,
But that put on a good performance and get her out of there quick and grab my belt.
okay. Well, you're gonna have a lot of people trying to duck you, though. I mean, you think she'll take a fight with you?
I do. I'm hoping she will. I just recently posted and I let everyone know, hey, this is the fight I want. Let's start hashtagging. Let's start tagging people. Tag her. Tag WBC Boxing. Tag some of these promoters. You have champion level fighters who want to fight these champions. Let's make it happen.
Man, let's make it. I'm gonna actually make a face off between you and her. Now it'll be an electronic. It's gonna look real though. It's gonna look real. Yeah, I'm making a little face off. And say, hey, this the fight she want to fight next. I don't know.
Mhm.
Cause I mean, have you been calling out pretty for a while now?
I have. To everyone, go to my Instagram, Bella Bestia,
Hmm.
or you can find me under Melissa Oddessa
On Twitter.
and post, do the hashtags, tag them, let it be known. Y'all want to see this fight so they can make it happen. And it's really up to the fans. When y'all want to see a fight, y'all help push and drive the matchmakers to make it happen. If there's no noise behind it, they get away with not putting those matches on. But if you show them, hey, this is what we want, this is what we will support, this is what we will buy tickets for, this is what we will live stream, it's going to make them want to match us up against each other. But for now, as female boxers, it kind of sucks. But we got to promote ourselves and we got to push for the fight we want, instead of just standing down and letting them be in charge of who they put us against. So that's why I'm speaking up and I'm saying, hey, I want champions and I don't want to randomly jump weight classes. So I want to start at bantamweight at 118 and then work my way up. So being the NABF champion, I want to be tactical but I also want to follow how it's supposed to go. So WBC is next. Let's make it happen. Let's go.
She the NABF champion, Luna. Okay, and you know what? I'm gonna take this video. Matter of fact, I'm gonna segment it out. I'm gonna just point at the screen. Hey, let's jump in there, Luna. Come on, let's jump in there. Hey, I'm gonna take this video and I'm gonna point it. And I'm gonna say, hey, this the fight you want right here. This is the fight. Okay. Hey, girl got experience. She can fight. She called you out. Let's get it done. Okay. Let's be about the fight. Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, and it'll be a good fight. Like you said, she has that experience, and it excites me to think about going against women who are going to be a challenge because it's only going to show just how great I am and what I'm capable of doing. Because it's easy to hit someone when they don't move. And you see a lot of that with these boxers who are matching up with opponents who aren't champion level fighters. So I want to go against women who I'm going to hit them, but they're going to come back at me. They're going to have an answer too. And then it's going to be a chess match, and we see who can overcome and get what they want on the person. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to those kind of matches, and that's why I want to go after her also, because man, she has a good record. She's been fighting. She has
So
the
does.
round experience. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how this fight plays out.
Yeah. I mean, she yeah, she definitely got a good she got a good record, and but you got a good record. You know, both y'all are really good fighters, and hey, I think they need to go on and get it in. I think y'all need. Okay, so let me ask you this: what about fighters like Amanda Serrano and those fighters? You ever see yourself fighting them sometime or one of these days?
Nah, man, I just recently got in trouble because I've been speaking on Amanda Serrano. Like, I got out the corner. Don't have them put me back in the corner.
Okay, okay,
But
man.
I I understand, like I said, that women's boxing has been difficult when it comes to getting people to step up and fight you.
Hmm.
But once again, I'll say it. It's your job also to kind of gear your career and put it in the direction that you would like to go. You have to speak up and you have to start doing the things you need to in order to make those fights happen if that's what you really want. So I still stand by what I said. If you're a champion and you're chasing vacant belts, if you're a champion and you're not defending your title, you're not unifying, or you're jumping all over the place, I have a problem with that because I
Hmm.
don't feel that that's going to help women's boxing. We need to be better organized. And I think the answer is unifying and becoming undisputed because it's defending that it's going to show champions going against champions. That's the only way it's going to happen instead of having someone who's 4-0 without an amateur background, who hasn't had much experience, just recently turned pro.
Hey
That's where the
man,
difference
hey man, I feel like I'm at church. I'm at boxing church.
is.
Hey, hey man, hey man, somebody's saying the right thing. Yeah, undisputed. God, dog, we need that. We need that. It's just people don't. I don't know. It's like people don't care about it anymore. Like it's
I
just.
don't think that people don't care. Like I said, once again, it's about making sure that we speak up and let it be known because a lot of times you get a lot of promoters and they may not like this, but it's got to be said.
Say it.
Looking to make the matches that are going to make the most money and push the fighters that they like. But if we follow the rankings and we start doing mandatories, and that's why boxing is doing much better because on the male side, they're going back to that and it's doing very well. I mean, now you're seeing more undisputed champions. Look at Anthony Joshua.
Mm.
So it's not that it's not popular and it's not wanted. It's that we weren't pushing it so that the spectators can see it, understand it, and see what it does for boxing and the sport.
Like I'm gonna tell you though, and I agree with that. What you're saying. I guess me as a boxing fan, I have been semi frustrated, and I was just telling people who make boxing videos, man, I'm frustrated because this Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, you know like I've been waiting for those fights. I'm like, come on, y'all, what's going on? But then It just seems like, oh, there's a network here, there's a manager here, there's a promoter here. Oop, 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 oop. We got to make everybody happy. Everybody got to get their palms greased, you know. And I'm like, I don't want it to be another Mayweather Pacquiao where we got to wait for 6, 7 years to actually see the fight when these guys can fight in their prime and that kind of thing. And I don't want nobody to tell me, "Oh gosh, it's a business, it's a business." That's
No,
what
I
they
feel
say.
you. But
Yeah.
the changes are being made, but we also have to be part of the solution and help get it in that direction, if that
Mm,
makes sense.
yeah, it do.
You know?
Yeah. So basically, in a nice way, you saying, look, you got to stop bitching about it, and you just go ahead and you be about the sport, and
Yeah, be about it. Do something. You know, we can talk about it, but what are you doing?
yeah,
So,
I got you. You know I was gonna talk MMA. I mean, I was gonna talk about it because
well, since you're gonna talk about MMA, check out the shirt, my jujitsu
let me see it.
shirt.
Submit or die. What did it say? Submit or die?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. I like that shirt. I like that shirt. Hey, what's your rank in jiu-jitsu anyway? I'm curious.
I'm a white belt with one stripe.
Really? Okay. You could have fooled me. You could have fooled me. Hey, those jiu-jitsu people, they kind of crazy. Did I tell you once that it's this 65-year-old, like he weighed about like 120 something pounds, and so I went. I used to wrestle. So my first day going in there, I'm like, let me go on in here, man. And he was saying, okay, jujitsu is not like wrestling. He kept telling me, older guy, it's not like wrestling. You gotta be patient. It's not about the takedown, it's the finish. He kept telling me. And you could get submitted. I said, man, you weigh like 120 pounds. You ain't submitting me. Hey, 20 seconds. I was in a rear naked choke. I said, oh, hold on, stop. Oh, hold up, man. And he's sitting there laughing at me. Then, he started transitioning into arm bars. Then he put me in a knee bar, and that hurt too. But it's just been the first fight I ever saw you in. It was an MMA fight, and I saw you beat the living hell out of somebody named Chelsea. It,
Chelsea Howard.
God, that's the first fight, and I said, man, I wish I could interview her. And so I reached out to you. That's the first fight. I didn't see you box, and then I
Yeah,
start I started researching you.
that was a long time. That was back in 2015. And I still remember I was stationed in Colorado and at Fort Hood, and I mean, Fort Carson. And I had some downtime in between boxing. And so I was looking just to stay active. So I tried a kickboxing class and then I tried one of the no-gi classes. And I fell in love with it because I'm very aggressive. And I felt like that was my balance in slowing down and being able to think more and having just a different type of discipline and control.
Hmm.
And I really enjoy doing it. So I decided to take a fight with only 4 weeks of doing MMA training. And it was a lot of fun, real different. Even when I did Naga back in December of 19, it's really different from boxing, but I enjoy it. I like testing myself because I just see myself as an athlete. I just like being active and I love combat sports. So testing myself and seeing how I would do and being on the mat and not being able to use my fist, which
Hmm.
is my strength, was exciting. I did 8 matches at Naga
Hmm.
and couldn't even close my hands when I was done. My the It was as if I did one of the hardest workouts of my life. I needed a whole week of recovery after that, but it was a lot of fun and I was able to train. I trained with Gracie Baja champions back in the Houston area and I've learned a lot and I feel that it's even helped me in boxing because it's brought so many different perspectives and ways to go about things that I translated into my boxing and even my MMA training with my war team. There are things that I implement in my boxing that makes me so unique. So I look forward getting back into MMA and hopefully sometime next year I'll be having my pro debut. But right now I want to focus on being at least a unified champion in boxing.
I was gonna ask, will the MMA world see Melissa Odessa, La Bella Bestia, back into the cage? That was gonna be my next question. It just was because I'm like, yeah, you got and your kicks. I'd have never known that you just took a MMA class or you just started, learning how to kick because Your first fight that I saw you, you mixed it up pretty good. I mean, you threw an adequate amount of. I thought your best kick. I saw you throw a body kick. You know, I saw you throw a pretty good body kick, and I'm like, yeah, this girl can fight. And then and
And I
then
even I never did anything like that before.
yeah, well, I think too though. I think what really helped you is that your athleticism is through the roof. Like you're very athletic, and then on top of that, you're physically strong. And if somebody were to look at you, they can't really. You don't look like the person that's like brute strong. But no, when I saw you fight Mallory Martin, and she was having a difficult time. And Mallory has had like all these amateur fights, and so this your second professional fight, and you fighting Mallory Martin, somebody on that level. She was having a hard time with you.
I believe she was the number one amateur in the entire state of Colorado. And I took her as my second fight with only a couple months of training in MMA. So that was a lot of fun.
And she in the UFC now, so that ought to tell you where you at though. She had difficulty with you, and I think that she was having an issue with your physical strength and athleticism, and it just kind of played into it. And I said, man, 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 if when the rest of the parts of her game come together, you're gonna be held. If you ever decided you're gonna be held in MMA too, because it's. I was like, wow, and there are only certain athletes, especially boxers, that can step into an octagon and perform. It's like a handful of y'all that could do that, but it's not like a wide range because boxing you're missing so many things, and it's just like you adapt it. Like has that always been your thing, being able to adapt?
I believe so. Between the military and like various sports in school, especially high school, I always like to try different things and see how I like it. And combat sports is just the thing that kept my attention, and I love doing it. But I mean, what you said, it's perfect because even Clarissa Shields, I think it's so dope the attention she's bringing to MMA. And what I like is her respect for the sport. She understands that money is a big factor, but she's also putting in the work. She's doing the training. She's not just taking a few classes. She's not just doing a few one-on-ones and thinks, oh, I'm going to step in there and dominate. She knows that this is a brutal sport, and she's showing her understanding of it because she's in the gym. She's putting in the hours. She's learning the techniques, the movements. I even saw her in a gi. She's taking Brazilian Jiu Jitsu classes now. That's the way you're supposed to do it. You can't move into a sport like MMA and think that you can compete as a boxer and do well. I mean, you're locked in the octagon now. You gotta have an answer because they're coming from head to toe. They're not just strike. So I hope that more fights your boxer transitioning, you'll just respect the sport and actually train in it because you're gonna see results like what happened to Heather Hardy, what happened to Amanda Serrano. Not a good look. So I look forward to seeing Clarissa and what she's able to do in the MMA. And who knows, like, how dope would that be in the future? Clarissa and I on the same card of an MMA fight.
Heck
Like,
yeah. The only thing I agree, I'm glad she's doing it. I disagree with one thing. She said, "Just give me 2 years. You give me 2 years, I'll be a wrestler." She said it, and I said, "Well, okay, yeah, you can learn. You can learn some wrestling." I know I've been wrestling for I wrestled for over 8 years, and it was still stuff that I was still learning, especially takedown defense. Takedown defense is going to be the key for her. I don't think in 2 years you can effectively learn wrestling. I know that with her athleticism, she can learn a lot of wrestling in that amount of time and close a gap. But I hope she thinks she need more than at least more than 2 years of wrestling. Because I think
I,
that's good.
I, I agree. I mean, have you seen Holly Holm? She
Yeah.
transitioned being a boxer to MMA, and she has one of the best takedown defenses in the sport.
Hmm.
Look at men. So I don't think it's about the amount of time that's needed in order to master something and to understand it. It's about how much work you put into it. How fast do you progress? How quickly are you catching on? Because I started doing wrestling myself,
Mm.
and I grew to achieve takedowns that I'm like, oh wow, I really did that. It's about grasping it. It's about soaking it in. So I don't think that she even needs a full 2 years. I think that it's good to take that first 6 months to a year and focus on training, but seeing where you're at because it's not about the amount of time, it's about the amount of work that's.
Okay, well, they coming for her legs. Ain't nobody gonna stand with her. They coming to take her down. They gonna shoot. You know, they gonna try to get them single legs. They gonna try to drive them hips through them double legs. That's what they coming. Ain't
But
nobody with any sense gonna stand with her. They ain't gonna do it.
for her size and her strength, imagine her snatching one of them up or doing a hard sprawl,
Mm.
or her going and shooting in and going for the takedown. Just because we're strikers and we're boxers doesn't mean we're scared to get on the ground. Like, they could sleep on fighters like us if they want, but once you learn the game, you become confident. I have no problem for a takedown or taking it down the ground because I'm prepared for it. So I think that she's going to do well. And I believe we're going to be able to show the world that fighters can transition to different sports within combat and do well in it, able to execute the way you should. You just need to put in the time to learn how to do it and actually train in it.
Yeah, putting in the time is key. Putting in that time is key. I mean, you know, 'cause if you do it once a week, nah, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. I don't know. Hey, hopefully she got the size advantage. So if she sprawl, I mean, she can weigh him down. You know, I mean, that's something. That's the angle I never looked at her sprawling and actually trying to just hold him and weigh him down. Yeah, she could. You know, because she got real strong legs. So, and that means if your hips strong, I mean, they're gonna have a hard time taking you down. You know.
Imagine if she learns how to really kick. That's going to be some brutal kicks.
Yeah, her kicks. I mean, have you like she's actually, she's strong. I mean, man, those gonna be some nasty body kicks.
Man, I've been at the Olympic Training Center with her when we had sparring and training.
Mm.
So I can hear and see how hard she actually hits, and that girl's strong. And I look forward to seeing her matches and how she does.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. We just been out here talking like we just, having a conversation. We just. I mean, I'm supposed to be. Well, we sitting there having a conversation, but that's how it's supposed to feel. But I want to know how well you know yourself. I want to know how well you know yourself. Okay. Now, of course, I'm going to ask you questions that you should be able to answer. Of course, I am. Okay. And I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back and forth between MMA and boxing. Okay.
You nervous?
Huh? No, come on. You nervous? Come on, now stop this. Now, come on, stop this.
And quizzes make me nervous. I'm over here sweating.
Oh my God, not you. You can't be sweating. Okay. I'm gonna ask you an easy question. Okay. All right. Okay. First question. What was the name of your opponent, the second opponent that you knocked out in your professional boxing career?
Oh man. She had like a hard last name to say.
Are you serious?
I know my first and last opponent. I can't remember my second.
I said number two.
Yeah, I can't remember the second one. I can remember
Oh
the first.
God, dog. You missed that. Oh gosh.
Nervous.
Okay. I'm gonna cut you a little slack. Her name was Catherine Paprocki.
See,
Paprocki.
but I tell you the last name was a little difficult to say.
Okay, well listen, you could have got the first name. Okay. I'm gonna ask you one that I got this. Okay. Name the name of the MMA opponent that canceled a bout with you. There's only one. Okay.
Only one.
Yeah, there was one person that legit canceled a bout with you.
I mean, you telling me something about me now. Who was it?
Okay. Hold on. It's Hope Troutman. Okay, she's supposed to fight you.
Fighting me?
Yeah, she's supposed to, but she pulled out of that fight. I mean, I don't know. I guess she's seeing how well you look. They probably ain't want no parts of you because they ain't want no parts of you in the amateurs, and now in MMA they don't want no parts of you. So I can believe that.
The struggle real.
The struggle
You
is
don't
real.
know how many each fight has been against like a last minute opponent who we had to add like either fight week or shortly before the fight. It's bananas.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you one. Okay, you got to know this because you got to get them right now. You can't fail this test. This okay. The name of your first MMA opponent.
Oh, I already had said her name. Um she freaking
Is
Something Howard.
okay, good enough. Yes, yes, Chelsea Howard. Okay,
Chelsea Howard.
you're doing good. You're doing good. Okay, all right. Um, the name of your promotional management company that you're affiliated with.
Havoc Advisory and Management.
Okay, very good. Okay. Ooh, man. Name one fighter other than yourself that Andre Rozier has coached.
Edgar Berlanga.
Okay, very good. Okay, all right. Last question that I'm gonna ask you. Okay, very last question. When is Andre Rozier's birthday?
Oh
Are you
man.
serious? Oh wow,
Almost.
I'm gonna tell him. You know, I am I'm gonna tell him. Wow. Oh, you better think hard about this one.
I am. I told you when I'm. It's weird. Sometimes I can step up when I'm put on the spot, but right now I done forgot when his birthday.
Hey, well, guess what? I don't know his birthday either. I was gonna have you tell me. So now we both got it wrong. uh,
August.
huh? So what?
When he signed me.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, he signed you. Wait a minute. Yeah, he signed you like 7 months ago, right?
In August.
Yeah, because I remember you had the letter. Oh, you had the announcement because it was on Instagram. I remember that. I said, look at that boy. She moving up. She doing things. She got it. Hey, she making it do what it do around here.
And
Man,
when no one really believed in me and they weren't sure whether I would be able to really perform the way I have because it's been 4 years. He never doubted me once. I told him I wanted to come back and he right on top of it and he made it happen. You know, he's the main reason I've been able to do what I've been able to do. So I love that man and I appreciate him. And we're going to make it all the way to the top with him being my head trainer and manager.
man, now that's respect. That's respect. I'm telling you. That's much, much, much respect. Well, lots and lots of respect to you, the NABF champion. The
Yeah.
NABF champion, soon to be the WBC champion, soon to be unified, soon to be undisputed. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Wow. Well, hey, listen. You definitely want to give any shout outs and any of this stuff.
Yeah. As I said before, check out my Instagram, Bestia, or look me up under Melissa Oddessa.
Okay, Bay Bestia 86, guys. It's up on the screen. See everything. So see, they ain't got to try to figure it out. It's right there. Okay, if they can't find it, good. And at Melissa Odessa on Twitter, it's up on the screen. You can type. Okay, I got it for you. Definitely want to. I want to thank you for coming on.